Evening, everyone. Welcome and welcome back. My name is Kelly, and today we are working with Maremi's small art book, The Magical Forest Stories. This is a beautiful book that she's recently done. All of her books are marvelous. I don't have all of them, but I am working towards my favorites. This happens to be one of them. I have done a few pages out of it, and you can see all those videos in my playlist. But today, we are going to be doing something different. I'm not quite sure which direction I'm going. I have an idea, but you guys are gonna decide whether or not I get away with it. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick. Now I have fought with these pieces for 2 days. That's correct. And I'm going to show you which pieces I'm referring to. Now, one thing I want to do is something I usually don't do. When it comes to Marta's images, I don't tear them apart. But today, I'm going to. And the reason is I need to not be so constrained by the images themselves and think outside the box. So I don't think Marta's gonna mind. Not the way that I do it anyway. So I'm just going to get started and start moving some things around and playing and seeing what works and what doesn't. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this section from this section. And I'm going to go ahead and get this section down. Okay. Remove some of my things I've been playing with. I have been playing with, and I just got my finger in some acrylic. I've been playing with inks, acrylics, different ways to apply them. I've even used makeup sponges, brushes, fingers. I've just been playing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So I'm gonna get this down, and then that's gonna show me the direction I want to go next. And I'm going to actually close my door because I feel there's some noise that's gearing up to get started. Now these pages are not even. So as you can see, I've been playing. As you can see, this ends right here, but then it comes out because these pages are hand torn. So they're not as straight as your normal pages would be. So I do have to just kind of work with it and wing it. And I don't mind because I like the craggy ruffliness of the pages. They're just not even. So it does make things look somewhat strange at times. And this particular journal I got on Amazon from a place called Leather Village. And they have many different colors. They have 3 or 4 sizes. This is their largest. I started out in their medium, and they have different elements on the front. This one happens to be the Tree of Life. And this, believe it or not, this one is the black. I do have another one that's lighter, that is the gray. I thought I was getting the gray, but it's just a darker gray. Okay. Now, here comes the struggle bus. And I've been writing it for 2 days. Okay. And sometimes it's good for us to work things out in front of you guys. Okay. Now I'm gonna tear this one. I'm gonna tear it along here. And I'm gonna put it in this corner. Again, I am not prepared for what the end result on this is going to look like. I do want to cover up some of that white at the bottom of this piece right here. Now I'm going to try and line this up here with this piece. But it is a little bit difficult just because the page is very crooked. But that's okay. Sometimes as an artist, and those of you who are artists understand what I'm saying, you get some beautiful materials. You have an idea of what you want it to be, and it just won't cooperate with what you're thinking you want. Now I have to decide on this piece here how much I want to come over. I want some of the beauty of that to show. Now what's interesting is these pieces are not going to lock together evenly because again these pages are quite uneven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this piece down in strategic areas, but not in others. In fact, I want to cut this off. So that more of that shows. Now I have this cut for a reason. And now I have to work with it just like that. So that's going to limit. Now this piece being cut, it's cut right there because I have a character that I'm going to be inserting in that area. Okay, so. I'm not gluing this area because if I do, that will limit me with what I want to do right there. And of course, we've got the crease, and that's okay. Now, I don't want to use anything too sharp because I don't want to break that paper. Okay. Now, let's see what I can get this guy to do. Okay, that's what I want. I want this guy up here. Believe it or not, this was the inspiration for this whole piece, and the rest of it just came together. Now, I want the sun mainly on this side because I don't want it to be wonky. If it's in the crease, it will end up wonky. Okay. Now, I do have this piece. Bear with me. I'm giving myself some leeway so I can get this in. And it may not look the best with that in there. It did when I was playing with it, but I will use this piece for another time. And I'm going to get this piece back down. I like this piece without that other intruding. Okay, so that's good. Now I don't have to worry about getting that piece in because I also had this piece to go in as well. I'm trying to create some depth with some near and some far trees. And I am going to do that piece right there. So I had cut out different pieces, fussy cut all of the trees so that I could create layers of distance. Okay. I also have other trees, but I may not use them. I may keep them for another project. I do like that right there. So I'm gonna get this piece down a little bit better since I yanked it up. It needs to be tacked down. So I had a method, but I decided to abandon exactly what I was gonna do because it was limiting me in what my options were. So this has opened up a whole lot more options. I like the layers of trees, the ferns coming up. It's a little bit different collage than you would normally see. And that's what I was trying to break out of doing just your normal storybook scene. I wanted a little bit more magical. I'm going to get our main character. It's this little guy right here. And he's going to be walking through this area here. Now this foot is behind. The way Marta drew it, it's got to be behind because it's the smaller foot. Now, in order to get this little guy or gal to be grounded, I've got to put some darkness under the footses. So let me get my pen going. Let me use a scrap. I'm making it shaggy because the grass she is walking in is shaggy. So her shadow is going to be shaggy. And these are just things that you want to look at. When you're doing shadows. So now our feet look like they're grounded. Okay. And we've got this beautiful little guy. This is not what I had in mind, but it's turning out better than what I had in mind. Because like I said, I was struggling. So I like when you start to just let go, just trust the process. These images that Marta has done are so beautiful. I've got some beautiful mushies. I am liking that right there. I cut out a bunch of things that actually appealed to me. And sometimes that's what you have to do. Put them in a pile, place them around on things, move them around. But by the time you get to where you're placing, you may have a totally different idea. I want this flower to look like it's coming from off the page, from another area. Mushrooms are fun to work with. I just have to get them right where I want them. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. The rule of threes. I think I've mentioned this before. There's something about the number 3 that really is a good number to play with your images. This one has a tree trunk, but there was no tree trunk up here on the page. So I'm going to, because that bothers me, it's a beautiful texture, but it's a tree trunk. And when people look at your collage, they're going to be wondering where's the rest of the tree, especially if you put it out in the middle of your collage. Where's your tree? Okay, much better. I hope you guys have enjoyed me working this out, having a little bit of doubt and being stressed about where it was going to be going, how it was going to be looking. I'm gonna get this down. And it's because when you create, you want it to be perfect. You want it to be beautiful. And it's not always that way. But the most beautiful part of creating is the process. I'm gonna get this down now that I know I'm not gonna need it. So struggle with your things. Sometimes you can discover absolute stunning beauty with things that don't go as planned. And some of the pieces I really wanted to use, that's okay. They're beautiful enough to use somewhere else. They will get used. Okay, I am happy with this. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I have to come up with a name. So let's see in the next few seconds, while I'm putting the finishing touches, if I can come up with a name. is, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't yet have a name, but that doesn't mean all is lost. I'm trying to work around the bars of my camera stand. So I hope you have enjoyed this struggle with me because I was definitely starting out stressed, but I said I'm gonna trust the process. So have fun with your things. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.